Today's video, we're going to be talking about what are the top 5 best generations for the F-Series, in my opinion at least. Let's get started. Alright, we're going to be starting things off on number 5. That's going to be Gen 1, 1948 to 1952, the Ford F1. Now, the Ford F1 was a little bit different than its previous trucks because it didn't share the same chassis as a car. Whoa, I know. But originally, Ford had been making their cars and trucks share a chassis, meaning the truck would be a car-based. Your car would be strong, but the truck wouldn't be as strong as it would be if you had a completely redesigned chassis for a truck. Well, the F1, that's what Ford started doing. They had completely different departments, car, truck, and they split up their teams so that you could have a completely different chassis for your truck than you could for your car, so that it could be built for different things. The F1 was a truck, built for truck things. Now, the F1 is classic. It's a beautiful post-war truck, and I like it because it symbolizes America. When you think post-war trucks, you're going to be thinking F1. It stapled itself. Customers loved it. It was a hit. And so, Ford didn't change it too much throughout the generation. It changed the grille a little bit in 1951, and it changed it a little bit in 1950, but overall the truck stayed mostly the same. Interior changes a couple times, but for the most part, the truck was a success, and they didn't change it too much until 1952. They were going to introduce the F-100. Of course, F-100 officially debuted in 1953 for customers to buy, but we're not going to be talking about that generation. Instead, we're going to be skipping to number 4, a completely different generation in years that were on number 4, which is Gen 5, 1967 to 1972. Ford was starting to do the square body, and in 1967 it was very apparent. It didn't have the more sloped look of previous generations, and instead was more boxy. And I gotta tell you, I love it. They've been doing this for decades after 1967, up until the 90s, which we will get to, and it just looks great. Square bodies have a unique retro look that make them look classy and timeless. Now, we are on number 3. That's going to be 1986 to 1991. Now, like I was saying, Ford had kept a decades-long square body look, and that means during this time, it's still going to be square body. So you can't go wrong with that. Ford also was doing a lot of new modifications, such as 1986 being when they introduced the rear anti-lock brakes, and that was something new. Nobody was doing that for their trucks, and so it was a cool thing for Ford to be doing back in 1986. They were ahead of the time, and they were ahead of time when in 1988 they offered a complete engine lineup of non-carbureted engines. What is a non-carbureted engine? Well, it's a non-carbureted engine. It means it doesn't have a carburetor. Instead, it's fuel injected. So you're going to have more performance, and while it does seem a tad bit more scary when you're working on it, it's more futuristic and offers more power, and customers ate it up. Ford was doing great during this generation, and they kept the overall look to it. Now they weren't offering Ranger as a trim. Instead, they were offering new ones like Night, which was more of a blacked out and stripe look. But overall, Ford was keeping what they had always done, which was succeed, and adding a couple new things to make it one of the best-selling vehicles of all time. And when I say one of, I mean the best-selling vehicle of all time. In fact, it was 1977 when Ford had officially been able to certify F-150 as the best-selling vehicle of all time. Yeah. Now we get to number 2. You can see I've got a fresh haircut, and Well, let me give you some backstory. First, I go into editing and I find that my number 2 was not recording. So I didn't have a number 2. What I ended up having to do was go get my hair cut so I look fresh. And then I came back and I'm recording this right now to tell you what my number 2 is. It's 1992 to 1996. Ford F-150 was fantastic.
I want to show you all the changes in the 92 Ford and Chevy trucks. F-150 got more aerodynamic. It got more convenient, and it got more comfortable. The Chevy just got older. Ford F-150. Prepare to be impressed.
Like I previously stated, I love the square body, and in the 90s, they had perfected this look. It's becoming a modern classic, actually, because it looks so sleek, classic, retro, and encapsulates what the 90s was all about, at least from my perspective, someone never born in the 90s. Great country music and great Fords. Imagine you're driving down the highway and you're much more luxurious driving F-150 because Ford did what it always does, make their cars drive smoother, and you're listening to the thunder hums and the lightning strikes down, down, down while you're enjoying your new trim for F-150, the Eddie Bauer.
This is a classy gentleman's truck right here. These didn't go to just like scumbags and stuff, no. Upstanding dudes bought these, okay? I'm talking about guys who like weren't just like working at the car wash. No. They owned the car wash, okay? So if you know like an old guy who's like really a gentleman, really nice guy, hit me up, honestly. Eddie Bauer.
Now, the Eddie Bauer was not a completely new trim, but in 1995 they did add it for the F-150, and it did make your windows tinted from factory and reupholstered the entire interior so you felt more rich driving it. Trust me, every kid in the neighborhood block thought you were more rich because of it. Now, what else did Ford do during this generation of F-150? Well, I'll tell you what. In 1993, they added the SVT Lightning, which could whoop your Camaro, whoop your Mustang, and make you smile like a school kid while it drove on the track. Now, if there was something Ford didn't do great in the 90s, I don't know about it, because Ford F-150 did amazing. Now, on to my number 1. We're at number 1. That's going to be the 2021 F-150. Now, I say 2021 and not any other generations because if you hadn't guessed, they haven't come out yet. We just have 2021. So, the 2021, why is it at the top of my list? First, we're going to start with the exterior look, which it has cool side vents. And I know you may be saying, ooh, side vents, but they look really cool. And while they're non-functional, I think they add a little bit of spikes to the F-150. We also have a changed grille, and the LED headlamps do change the look of it. I prefer you get an LED headlamp because while you may be blinding me while we drive at night, at least you're able to see. What's changed on the inside? Well, the inside is changed a little bit to try and catch up with the truck of the year for the past 3 years, Ram. Now, Ford is still the best-selling vehicle, F-150, of all time, but of course, you want to be the top dog. And so they've made their interior more of a luxurious kind of thing compared to their previous 2020, 2019, 2018, all of their previous years. So they can try to get back on top. As for how it drives, well, it drives more luxurious because, like I've said, Ford always is trying to make a more luxurious drive. They want it to drive like a car while still going like a train. This means you're going to be towing dozens and dozens of logs and your huge trailer, but you're still going to love driving. And I think that's why I love F-150 so much. Okay, so that's all of my top 5 from 5 to 1. I hope you liked this video. If you did, click the like button. If you didn't, click the like button. And then hit subscribe if you haven't already. Comment below on what your favorite truck is, even if it isn't made by Ford, whether it be Chevy, Ram, I guess Toyota. Not Honda though, because Ridgeline is not a real truck. But whatever it is, Tell me in the comments below. Tell me what your favorite body style is, what your favorite year is, whatever. Just let me know in the comments. I read them and I'm very excited to see what you say. So yeah, do all of that. And then when you're done with that, click share so that all of your friends can see this.